Oh jeez, homies. Oh jeez. Wow, 11:44 in 4.5 hours. How much did we like log in, right? How much did we log in for FF7? Yeah, like if we see it right here, it's like 158 hours of, just fucking playtime. That is wild and crazy, dude. That is wild and crazy, but we made it. The long, like, road of FF7 started all the way back in, like, February, and now we've, like, finished it. All just before, the New Year's, right? All just before the New Year's. Damn, it's been a long fucking ride. Like I said, like, before, like, in the credits, I honestly give Final Fantasy VII Rebirth a 9 out of 10, right? It's just got like the same combat, the same like, combat structure as Remake, right? You get to squad up with like, Cloud and then some of like your homies, except in this case, in Rebirth, you get to like customize your party. So the total number of playable characters are Cloud, Aerith, Tifa, Barret, Red, Kate, and Yuffie, altogether making 7. We don't have Sid and Vincent playable because, they weren't that planned ahead, but each one plays so fucking well. I was so interested in like Red 13, like at the beginning, this like doggo that like, bites you a lot and does an interesting mechanic called Vengeance, where the more you block, the Vengeance gauge fills up and the more powered up you are. Like, wow, this character's crazy. And of course there are other like gameplay adjustments, right? Like synergy skills where you spend ATB commands to do team up commands, which is, wow, really cool. A totally like new dynamic to like your party, kind of like team up attacks in other like JRPGs, but this one is like, yo, like the anims and things like that are really fucking sick. Synergy skills and synergy abilities. There's also what, like, oh, let me turn down the volume, right, because that will also be copyright. Synergy abilities is also there. And there's like a balance patch in like FF7. Like now you have like a perfect guard for like everybody, and you have like perfect dodges. I don't know if there's like perfect dodges, but everybody has like, precision defense or precision attack. Everybody has got like counters and stuff like that to like boost yourself up. So like that cool shit that Cloud has been doing in Remake, where he goes like Punisher and like, assumes a defensive stance, like a counter sort of shit. Now everybody has that. Everyone has that. Gameplay wise, it's like, yeah, the same as like Remake. You tackle a bitch, pressure him, like exploit the enemy's weakness, and then you put him in like full like stagger. Put him in full stagger and then just like pounce the bitch. Like just exploit so much damage that, big number goes up. If you have like Tifa on board, you could like increase the stagger percentage to like 210 and just like whale it in, bro. But the combat, of course, it's like it's in Remake. Is it like, it's kind of like, all of like these different like remake games or like sequels of games where they just do like 1-to-1, right? But at least like it's varying like, degrees of like fun throughout. Like, like in Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2, yeah, there is not much difference to the Arkham style combat except for like, parries, right? They have legit like parries and things like that. There, and another example, God of War, there was no real like change up other than just like very minute and precise gameplay mechanics. Like you get to use like spears or maybe like new weapons. Yeah, that was it, new weapons. But that's like, you know, I wouldn't say excusable to them because they're like one-to-one. They're like, you know, almost like one-to-one. In FF7 Rebirth, it's like, yeah, there's like little bits of like, you know, gameplay changes, but it doesn't feel like it's one-to-one. It feels like you can do like more than what you can in Remake, if that makes sense. If that is like a good like answer. As far as like, you know, game all around, dude, this is like the most gamey ass game there is, man. This is like truly like JRPG, right? There's just so much fucking content. All the way back in like, you know, the first city, like in Com, you get introduced to like Queen's Blood. Oh my fucking god, Queen's Blood. That game is fucking just the bee's fucking knees. There are even reports that like, you know, the team at Square Enix want to make like IRL versions of Queen's Blood. And there's even like a fan website that you can play Queen's Blood online with people. It's like a fan-made base, like, you know, mod. Oops. Fan-made base mod of the Queen's Blood card game, and it was really sick. And it's really sick, sorry, it's really sick. And the side quests are just like, you know, just like a lot of fun. From dolphin rides to, well, I don't know about the Moogle ones, but I don't know about Moogles, but Moogles, there's all, no, not Moogles, man, I'm saying Moogles so many times. From dolphin rides to Fort Condor to 3D brawlers at the Golden Saucer, from the 3D brawlers to moto bikes, right? Like, damn, man, this game got a lot of everything, and that's kind of like, you know, as much as, you know, as tedious as they may be, I still dig like FF7 for that because, you know, because where I'm going with this is like FF7 is like a AAA budget game. AAA budget game with a lot of like, you know, backing from like Square, a lot of like advertisements and things like that. All that, you know, new age junk. A lot of games now are just like pushing to, you know, push like a narrative. And I mean, of course, FF7 is, you know, not an exception here, right? With like the plot, I mean, on a subtangent, like the plot of FF7, you just like go from, you're just trying to gain clues on Sephiroth all the way to like the very end where you see like Aerith died, which is, you know, a canon event. And I mean, I talked about like lore, but there's just so much like fan love to like, you know, the lore of FF7, right? An open world, and you get to see these fleshed out places like like Gongaga, like Cosmo Canyon. You get to see you get to see like Nibelheim, I mean, in the demo, and you also get to see it like in game. You get to see like what was it, Junon. Every area feels like a breath of fresh breath of life, all from like, you know, the OG game. And how do you like bring like things from like a 1997 game with nothing but like, you know, pop-eye pixels and like limited graphic potential, all the way up to here? Every like area so like organic, and it just feels like they're a lot of fun to just, you know, see and behold, you know? It's crazy. It's crazy, man, that like so much like care and effort to like just like the FF7 lore, you know, from like Junon to fucking going gaga with Cisne, interconnecting like so many things from like even like, you know, the prequel FF7s. It's this is like, you know, like I said, if somebody out there is like a Final Fantasy nut or Final Fantasy VII hardcore out there, especially 7, this would be like your game of the year. This is like 11 or 10 out of 10. Right, this is like every FF7 fan's wet dream. Don't know about the story though, but yo, dude, like the fact that this game is doing a lot of shit with like the plot, and it's like kind of like telling you that like the story can change, you know, from what it was like before. Yeah, like this is like again a remake, but it's like transcending the idea of like what a remake is. And wow, they're really being like ambitious with this shit. And with like, you know, plot and like, you know, with space-time multiverses and things like that, is just like, what the fuck is going on with FF7, man? Like, god damn. As far as like plot goes, that's like what it is, you know. I'm not like too big into like FF7, but I do like enjoy it through and through, you know. This is like, again, one of the FFs that is the most notable, the most nostalgic, the most inspirational to a lot of like people. Of course, like my favorite FF would be like Final Fantasy, where is it? Homies, you want to know what my favorite Final Fantasy game is to this day? It's still this. Final Fantasy 15. Albeit this is the bad example of one. This is the day 1 edition, right? With a lot of like complaints of just the game being like, you know, so linear, so fucking like, this is like the bad version of FF, until it got like, you know, the Royale edition with like all the DLC episodes and, you know, just so much like fluff to FF15 that it's insane. It still is one of my favorite. This is like one of those cases where it's like, what's your Final Fantasy? And that's my Final Fantasy. It's like, and what that means is that, did you play a Final Fantasy and you beat it and you enjoyed it? That's like the phrasing, what's your Final Fantasy? Right? Like, I completed FF15 like through and through. I even got like a platinum trophy on it on PlayStation because I grinded that game so hard and it was so much fun. So with 7, I'm not like the biggest fan of it. I mean, we played through like the whole thing, but I'm not too, you know, it's not like my Final Fantasy, right? And that's fair, right? Everybody has their own Final Fantasy, so, and that's totally fine. Some guys' favorite Final Fantasy would be like 10 or 9 or 8 or 16 even, right? Everyone has different tastes. It's true to life. And oh yeah, back to like, you know, it's a breath of fresh breath of life, or it's like, you know, it feels like the comparison of like AAAs and things like that. Yeah, this is kind of like what I've been noticing about myself, about my peculiar tastes for gaming and things like that. It's kind of like all started with like Hi-Fi Rush, right? Oh my god, back again, Hi-Fi Rush. Hi-Fi Rush really like taught me that, you know, there are a lot of games out there with a very like big emphasis on like, you know, story or you know, thematics, like treating games as like, you know, art forms. But, you know, games like Hi-Fi Rush, that's not the case. yeah, it has like a story, but it doesn't like have like a poignant tale to like give like players. No, no, no. It's not like an art form. It's not like a Hideo Kojima game. No, it's just a feel good action game, right? And that's why I always give Hi-Fi Rush like a 10 out of 10. It's like my game of the year. It's like the game of like all time. Well, I don't know about all time in my opinion, but like it's one of my favorite games. Like if I were to put like a top 10 like gaming list of the Khaiza's, favorite games, Hi-Fi Rush would definitely like be up there because it's just fun. Right? That's all I want in a video game. Like my phrasing would be like if the game acknowledges it's fun. Right? The game itself knows that it's fun and doesn't like try hard to, be like something else. Right? In Final Fantasy VII, right? Of course, memorable characters and memorable moments, tear-jerking events and things like that, right? But there, like back to like content, there's a lot of like content in FF7 that, yeah, just it's reminding us that it is a game, right? Like from dolphins to 3D brawlers to it makes us feel like we're back in like in the 90s where games are just games. We're there to like have fun. Now like games are like trying to put like an emphasis on like story or like deep messaging. Indies are like kind of like an exception to me, but like studios spend so much time and like effort on like advertisements and like really good like graphical quality for stories and stuff like that. Stories, albeit they're cool, but I feel like they should be like secondary, because what are you buying like in your hands when you go to like a Target or a Best Buy or anything like that? It is a game. You're paying $60 for a video game, a leisure item, where you just like sit back, relax, had an awful like day of work from your 9 to 5 job. Why do you want to go back? Why do you want to go and play like Silent Hill? Or play Metal Gear with all of its like Hideo Kojima bullshits about like war and shit like that and US politics. I get enough of that on like Twitter or putting on cable television network on MSNBC News. I just want to come back home and just like play a game and just like have fun. Right? Of course, everyone's fun is like subjective, right? Some people like to play Silent Hill. Some even people like to play fucking Hellblade, a psychological game. So, but for me, and this could be like, resonating to a few others out there, I want to play a game where I don't have to like, not really like think about it. I mean, thinking it's like fine, but I just want to have fun. I want to feel good when I play and just forget about the worries of the world. Don't have to deal with all of like, the real world bullshits. Video games are like just meant to like have fun. Not to start like culture wars or like some shit like that. No, it should be fun. And again, very subjective. My fun is like, Devil May Cry or Metal Gear Rising. Just feel good, actiony moments. Devil May Cry 5, things like that. But Final Fantasy, it reminds us that like, hey, it is a game. There's a lot of like this content that you can do. And it respects itself that like, yeah, it's a game that doesn't, take itself seriously. Like, characters have fun, right? You know, game itself feels fun. And that should be like this. That should be like a similar way for most other games. It's like, can a game itself be fun? Instead of just like me, like, you know, just going through it for going through its sake. You know? That's why, like, that's like my stance on, like, you know, games. Like, I just want games to like have fun. Of course, like, I'll play, like, you know, whatever AAA budget game is like going around like in the buzz. Like, for the most part, like, I didn't touch Black Myth Wukong. I didn't play Elden Ring. I have yet to play Astrobot. That's what I should play next. I need to play Astrobot. I just have to, like, you know, buy it. I think there's like a physical copy if I can go to like GameStop. But yeah, just games should be games. Story is nice. Story is fun. But it shouldn't be like, you know, the forefront of it all. Just like keep it as like secondary. Don't make it your main focus. Right? And of course, like FF7 again, right? Its focus is story, but the team behind Final Fantasy VII Rebirth put so much love and care and effort to not just, you know, the story, but just everything that like makes FF7 so special. Right? Not just story, but just content. The worlds, the environments, the cute, tender moments. That's what you're there for. And not all the other bull. And not like story. It's like in my opinion. Which, by the way, I'll be looking up lore guides on what just happened with the FF7 Rebirth, man. I had to like listen to so much. Anyway, but yeah, like FF7 Rebirth was a fun ride. Altogether, it's like a 9 out of 10. I loved it, right? 10 out of 10 for me, not that much. Like close to like a close like 10, but I'll still give it like a 9. Like, it is good. Don't get it twisted. It is good, but like it ain't beating like some other 10 out of 10s for me. Anyway,